This is a special edition of Welcome to the Next Level, where we're going to go ahead and take a look into getting the battery backup changed on a Sega CD. I had not been able to find any tutorials over the internet on how to do this, so I figured this might be some good information for everyone. Anyways, this is a standard 2016 battery. It's a 3-volt Energizer. This is all you would need for the inside. If you see here, these 2 points right there and there that are on the battery. The information I did find on the internet said that this was actually soldered to the battery. I don't believe that to be true with the little bit of trial and error that I found trying to desolder it. The best way that I found is to actually take some tweezers here and take a X-Acto knife and cut those little points that I pointed out to you with the arrow there. Cut them off, and they come off pretty easy. What I did here was on the bottom part, I took and desoldered. That way I didn't want to accidentally break something. So you desoldered this part off here after getting the top piece off. Now take note that the top of the battery, oh, well, actually, before that, these two right here, again, those little pressurized points that keep the battery stuck onto the system. You just want to use those tweezers, hold on to it, and then with the X-Acto knife, you cut it off. Just make sure you take note of your positive and your negative on the battery before you do any of this. The positive is on the top half and the negative is on the bottom half as you're doing this, so just keep an eye out there. But get your X-Acto knife, cut those off. Very little pressure should get it right apart here. Watch, it'll pop right off. Those 2 little points. After you do get it off, make sure that you get the metal piece flattened back out. Needle nose pliers comes in very handy for something like that. Obviously, the little nub on the end that goes through the PCB, make sure you leave that. You don't want to flatten that out because obviously that's got to get soldered back onto the board. There, you got it. Now, what I did was I took the bottom half of that, the connector, and taped it on to the negative side of the battery. Make it nice and tight. Gonna slip it back onto the PCB. Now, I left part of the video out of here accidentally. I couldn't seem to find it, but what I did was after getting this first section taped back on, I would go ahead and solder the negative side back to the PCB, of course. So you won't be seeing that in the video, but swing it back around, pull the tape across, get it as tight as possible. You don't want to lose those connections. There we go, nice and tight. Now this is where, after you get it tightened on there, again, you want to go ahead and solder that piece back onto the back. Otherwise, you might run into some issues with losing your memory. Right there. Alright. Now the other thing I did after soldering that back together is I took a small piece of tape and went across the other direction. Again, another part of the video that I did not do on here, but I went ahead and did anyways just for safety. Across the top of this, I would take a little bit of hot glue and just seal the edges. That way it gets a nice tight seal. Here we're just going to go ahead and test it. And I went right into a game like an idiot, but I wanted to make sure that the video stayed running.
No, I'm going to let it go in and tell me that it can't save games.
Oh, okay.
And then format from there. Or it won't let me.
Didn't do it, huh?
Okay, so of course reset it. We got to get into the memory manager. So put a game in if you would like to, but instead of pressing start when it tells you to, well, if you know anything about the Sega CD, you should know already. Hit the A button. It should bring you into the menu here.
Put a disc in.
Make sure your tray is closed. Alright, get into the memory. Go up to format. Now let's go ahead and run a game here. Get something installed onto the memory so we can see if it worked or not.
What disc?
Oh, and be sure not to leave your Sega CD unplugged for periods of time.
To save?
You know, by doing that, it's going to kill the battery. So just make sure after you have replaced this battery that you keep your system plugged in at all times, if at all possible. If not, you want to make sure that you're at least doing it maybe once a month. Leave it plugged in for a while, though.
It's not giving me the error now.
Does that mean it's working? Powdered biscuits, the Mighty Muffin powdered biscuits. Can you save? Could it just like a save mode, or
Maybe it automatically saves.
well?
Hopefully there's enough battery left.
Those stupid teenagers don't know who they're messing with.
Okay, let's reset back out here. Get back into that system menu.
Well, at least the error was gone.
And of course, go into memory. And we see here we got a saved item.
Good.
So it looks like it was successful.
Yay, it works.
Yes. I'm gonna shut this.
Hopefully this was some good information for all of you.
Well, the first
And
fix was a success.
leave me some feedback. I know this is probably not the best tutorial because I just kind of threw everything together. But hopefully everything works out for all of you. If you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of me.
Welcome to the next level.